Welcome to the SEVIS training for sponsor officials. This training is designed to facilitate your understanding of SEVIS in regards to the administration, maintenance, and management of the J1 program information at your organization and your exchange visitor and spouse dependent records. In this presentation, we will demonstrate how to create a record with a training internship placement plan, also known as a TIPP, for an intern, trainee, or student intern participant. Disclaimer: this presentation provides guidance for using SEVIS. It does not replace the Exchange Visitor Program Regulations 22 CFR Part 62. To obtain administrative guidance on the Exchange Visitor Program, the Exchange Visitor Program Regulations, or Program or Exchange Visitor Issues and Concerns, contact the Department of State's Office of Private Sector Exchange Designation. We will now demonstrate how to create a record for an exchange visitor with a TIPP. We will start by entering biographical and contact information on the form DS-2019. Then TIPP participant information will be added. Next, we will add sites of activity and phases from the TIPP overview page. After all sites and phases have been entered, we will review the entered phase dates. This completes the information required for the TIPP. We will then finish entering data for the form DS-2019 and submit both forms DS-2019 and DS-7002. If the sponsor is creating a record for an exchange visitor in the category of intern, trainee, or student intern, instead of going through the regular process, as shown in the top part of the diagram, the system will take the user through a series of steps that are required to create a Form DS-7002 along with a Form DS-2019. This set of steps is shown in the bottom part of the diagram. After entering the non-immigrant's biographical and contact information, the user will go through the pages required for creation of the Form DS-7002. The TIPP-related pages are highlighted in the frame. The user must enter additional participant information, one or multiple sites of activity, and one or multiple phases corresponding with the sites of activity. Once the TIPP information is added, the user will continue creating the Form DS-2019 by adding spouse and/or dependents, if applicable, and financial information. The final step is submitting both forms DS-2019 and DS-7002. Creating an exchange visitor record along with a TIPP starts with filling out the non-immigrant's biographical information. The next page is the contact and program information page. The email address, program begin date, and program end date entered on this page will populate the fields on the Exchange Visitor Participant Information page. Clicking the Next button opens the Exchange Visitor Participant Information page. The Exchange Visitor Participant Information page contains the Form DS-7002 Participant Information block. The email address and program dates are displayed as entered on the previous page. The user must enter additional information about the participant. Clicking the Next button opens the TIPP overview page, which is the main page for managing TIPP information. At least one site of activity must be entered. Clicking the Add Site of Activity link on the TIPP overview page opens the Add Edit Form DS-7002 Site of Activity page. This is the Add Edit Form DS-7002 Site of Activity page, where site of activity name, address, organization information, information about the main program supervisor, and remarks are entered. Dates when the TIPP was signed by the RO or ARO and the exchange visitor can be entered if known at this time. All signature dates on the TIPP are required when validating the exchange visitor's program participation. Clicking the Add Site of Activity button opens the TIPP overview page. The TIPP overview page shows that the site of activity has been added. Each site of activity must have at least one associated phase. Clicking the Add Phase link opens the Add Edit TIPP phase page. The Add Edit TIPP phase page allows the user to add information about the phase associated with the site. It is long and scrollable, so we will zoom in to show the details. The top of the Add Edit TIPP phase page shows which site of activity the phase will be associated with, its address, and the program dates. The user must enter basic information and supervisor details. The date the phase supervisor signed the form can be entered if known. At the bottom of the Add Edit TIPP phase page, the user must enter phase specifics and knowledge, skills, or techniques to be imparted during this phase. The system allows the user to cut and paste into the fields. Each text box can hold up to 3,000 characters. The countdown feature displays the number of remaining characters. Clicking the Add Phase button opens the TIPP overview page. The TIPP overview page shows that the phase has been added. It also shows the phase start date and phase end date and whether or not all signature dates have been recorded. Pending means that not all signature dates have been entered. When signature dates have been recorded for the RO/ARO, non-immigrant, and the phase supervisor for each phase associated with the site of activity, the system displays complete in the signatures column. The duplicate phase feature allows the user to copy information from an existing phase to a new phase. Clicking the duplicate link opens the duplicate phase window. The user must select a site to associate the duplicated phase to and click the Submit button. The Add Edit TIPP phase page opens with most fields pre-populated with data from the duplicated phase. The user must then update the necessary phase information and click the Add Phase button. We see that the new phase has been added to the site. The Add Site of Activity link allows the user to add additional sites of activity. The users can print the form DS7002 for either a single site of activity and its associated phases by clicking this Print Site link, or print all forms for all sites and phases by clicking the Print DS7002 link. When all sites and phases have been added, clicking the Next button will open the TIPP Review Dates page. The TIPP Review Dates page shows the dates for all phases and checks that there is no time between the program begin date and program end date that is not covered by a phase. All phase dates across all sites are being combined to determine the date validation. As long as the program duration is covered, the coverage can occur over all sites and phases. If there are multiple phases, phase dates can overlap. If there are no gaps, the system will display a confirmation message. If there are any gaps, the validation error message will provide the dates of the gaps. In order to proceed, the user must edit the phase dates so that there are no gaps, which can be done on the current page. Clicking the Next button from the TIPP Review Dates page concludes the TIPP creation process and opens the Exchange Visitor Dependents menu page. If the Exchange Visitor will be accompanied by a spouse and/or dependents, the user can enter their data from this page. Clicking the Next button opens the Financial Information page. The user must finish creating the Form DS2019 by entering financial information. Clicking the Submit DS2019 button completes the process. This process results in the creation of both forms, DS2019 and DS7002. The user can now print both forms. This concludes the presentation about creating a record for an Exchange visitor with a TIPP. For additional videos about the administration of your Exchange Visitor program, please visit our website j1visa.state.gov/SEVIS.